Hi, I'm Jess Porter. Welcome to The List. I'm talking today with my friend Ronnie Butler Jr., who is an audiobook narrator, lives in Los Angeles, has voiced over 150 books at this point. Hi, Ronnie. How are you?
Hi, I am, I think as well as I can be in the middle of everything that's going on. So, I'm happy and I'm anxious at the same time. If that makes any sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it is March 31st,
Yeah.
and we have been in Los Angeles. Restaurants, etc., have been closed now for 2 weeks as of Monday. Today's Tuesday. It was 2 weeks. And then the real sort of please don't go outside order came, it will be 2 weeks on Friday.
Wow.
Yeah, and it seems like, the mood has really shifted. I was saying to someone the other day, I feel like we were all in shock for a while. And now this sort of new normal is setting in. And what a weird, there's the staying at home normal, which is one thing. And then there's the looking at the news and seeing this awful, awful disease taking people and overrunning, especially New York City at this point. So the mood has changed. What have you noticed in yourself?
Well, when you said that, like, this Friday would make 2 weeks, it seems like so long. I feel like we've been under this for so long already that it doesn't, like, I can't believe this hasn't been 4 weeks, because that's what it feels like. And like you said, I feel this, shock, but now, fear. Yeah. Like I feel like living in my home and thinking every time I venture forth, I'm taking a huge risk.
So yeah, things have, since the first couple of podcasts that I recorded, the whole tone of the world, and I'm sure this podcast, very much so, and I think everyone agrees that the worst is yet to come. I want to tie that into the 80s and the AIDS epidemic, moving into the 90s before they found drugs that worked on it. Now, where were you at in the 80s vis-a-vis AIDS?
So I came out right around the time or the same year AIDS was on the cover of like Newsweek or Time. So it was about 1985, right in the middle of the 80s. That was when things, the government first started being aware that they had to do something because the activism had finally reached the mainstream media. And so I came out right when, the idea of being sexual, interacting with another human being was potentially deadly. And it was, it was a lot. It was very similar to what I think some people are experiencing now. Like, you can't touch anybody, you can't breathe near anybody, because for a long time, people didn't know how HIV was transmitted, right? People didn't know if you could get it by touching, could you get it by kissing? They didn't know for a couple of years, and so it was literally, terrifying and scary, and so I have that. I'm filtering that experience through this. So I'm having some, flashback stuff. And I'm sure that affects the anxiety that I'm having now, because I had that anxiety before and I know what it felt like. And it was also peaking then. We're talking then like maybe a 10-year curve, right? As opposed to a 3-month curve. But there is at least a decade, if not longer, curve. If we want to talk about curves as compared to how we talk now, they talk about the flattening the curve and whatnot. So I came out at the peak, after when they were just having, AZT and they had drugs that they were starting to treat people with, but many people had already died by the time I understood what was going on, and so I didn't I didn't lose a lot of people. I lost some people, absolutely, but I didn't lose nearly as many people as other men who were even 5 years older than me.
Right.
You know, it was barely that much of a difference, and it was all like all safe sex, like hyper safe sex, you know. And even then, you know, you're just like, oh my God, you know, I've always used a condom. I use a condom for absolutely everything, and still you went to get tested and were terrified because there weren't the options that there are today.
In a way, looking back, because I had just graduated from high school and was a freshman and then sophomore in college around the years that you're talking, and I remember it. I mean, because although AIDS wasn't considered a straight person's threat as much as it was to gay men, just the idea that a sexual act could be fatal was just so, I don't know if ironic's the word, but oxymoronic, you know, like fatal sex, like sex which is like the bringer of life, you know, that it could turn and be the bringer of death. I remember writing a whole essay about it in college. And then I remember ACT UP sort of being born. And really, if we look at the like yin and yang of the AIDS epidemic, you're really seeing a tragedy that propelled the gay rights movement in a way that possibly nothing else could.
Yeah.
It does give me it does give me comfort that within my lifetime we saw AIDS come about, drugs for it come about. Now living with HIV is a thing that doesn't even necessarily stunt somebody's lifespan. And we also have a prophylactic drugs available. Yes. You know. Yes. And all the good things that have come out of that. I mean, believe me, the tragedy was epic, and I lost people to it as well. But you know, I've always said there's so many things that we gird against in life, you know, death, disease, pain of almost any kind. And yet when we allow ourselves to actually be present with the pendulum swinging in that dreaded direction, there is often great beauty there. And it brings out the best in many, many people. I remember my mother's death, just thinking, this is the worst time of my life and the best. It was incredibly beautiful and rich and profound and tender, and there was only love in it. So we'll see. It'll be really interesting to see what comes out of this, you know, economically, socially. I mean,
oh my gosh, it's all completely uncharted territory.
It may be a very good thing. It may bring the world together in a way that nothing else could. We shall see. Now, I'm not suggesting that 10 years afterwards, the world won't be back in its ego-based bullshit again. But it has the potential to do that, I think. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the big scary part, is that it's really unknown.
Yeah,
that's what we're all facing.
Unknown.
Big unknown.
Yeah, it really is.
But no excuse not to cultivate gratitude.
No, I think that's what gets you through the day. I mean, I should say that's what gets me through the day. So
let's do the list. I'll start.
Okay.
My friend who I'm staying with right now.
Nice. All the free exercise stuff on YouTube. I did a dance class today on YouTube because you talked about the one you're doing. I didn't do it through yours. I just found a YouTube video, and it was awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
The house where I'm at is very like indoor, outdoor, and there's a place in the backyard to just sit and recline under these trees. And I was there today, and it was like, oh, there's a pandemic? You know, I was completely not in this scary reality for a while because
Mhm.
I was out in nature, and like nature doesn't give a shit. So I'm really grateful for that. I mean, nature is part of this, you know what I'm saying, but like the lemon tree in the
Mhm.
yard was not affected by any of this, and I love that. It was great.
I'm grateful for my apartment, which I love being in for many of the same reasons you just described. I'm really grateful for it, and was even more grateful today when I realized that my rent increase was not going to happen because of what was going on.
Yes. That the Feds passed a $2 trillion thing. I'm really grateful for that. I'm just grateful that that was the response to this.
I'm grateful for Zoom right now. I had a fantastic like Sunday brunch, quote unquote, with my friends in New York and some people in the Bahamas, and for like 2 hours, and it was really great to connect and see people's faces and hear their voices at the same time. Some of the people that I love the most in the world. I'm so grateful for that technology, and so yeah.
I'm really grateful that my aunt and her husband are okay, and you know, that even though they're floating around waiting for a port, that they are healthy.
I'm grateful for my career as a narrator and what it allows me to learn and keep learning and keep exploring as a creative person.
I'm grateful for my sister and her kids. I FaceTimed with them today, and the 7-year-old, like in the middle of the phone call, just started going like, ah! and sort of screaming just to like get attention. And she completely hijacked all of our attention. It was hysterical. I really am grateful for those kids.
I'm grateful that I have a yoga mat that has been sitting in my closet unused for 2 years that I finally was able to roll out, and I'm using it, and I'm glad it was there.
Nice. I'm grateful for my nephew, Noah. He's turning 12 on Thursday. 12 in lockdown. And we're going to try and figure out how to have like a Zoom birthday party for him.
I'm grateful that I have a hybrid car that I can plug in, and I sort of don't have to deal with going to the gas station if I don't want to.
Nice. Yeah, I'm grateful for Los Angeles, especially as there's fewer cars and the nature's kind of, you know, creeping back and the air is better and there's no traffic.
I'm grateful for my ukulele, which is helping me de-stress.
I'm grateful for the show Ozark with Laura Linney and Jason Bateman because it's just so good. And Jason Bateman, it's a great show to watch right now because, like, he's as stressed out as we are. You know, it's a stressful show.
On the show?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because he's dealing with like the Mexican drug cartels and shit. It's really good. Great show.
I'm grateful for the shower gel that I have called Body Dos, which I buy whenever I'm home in the Bahamas because it just reminds me of comfortable things.
Yeah, I'm grateful for these towels that my sister bought me. Completely impromptu. Last year, she just had this generous moment and sent me all this bath stuff. And it was this towel is so thick and heavy. It's like a 5-pound towel. It's just awesome. I used it today. It's a great towel.
I'm grateful for the DJs that are making mixes and throwing them up online so people can have dance parties, like home dance parties. It's this thing that's happening, and it's just reminding me that I love to dance, and I don't want to forget that and my love of music. And so I'm grateful for all the people that are doing that, especially now.
I'm really grateful for my sisters. I have 3 sisters, and they're all really different, but very strong, each one of them. And, yeah, I'm just insanely grateful that I have such neat sisters.
It's one of my aunt's birthday today, so I'm grateful for her beginning another trip around the sun, and that she's surviving this with a close family that love her.
I'm grateful for the people on the front lines. I mean, you and I are terrified, but I can only imagine working in a hospital right now, and I couldn't do it. Like those are heroes.
Yeah. Amen. Well, I'm grateful for you inviting me to do this, and just for you in my life. I love you, and as I was thinking, I mean, that popped into my head, but also this experience, I am so much calmer, and I don't even know how far we're into it, but I can feel myself loosening up and letting go. And wow, what a gift. So thank you.
Amen. Yeah, I'm really grateful for the list. I was listening to one of these podcasts to edit it this afternoon, and I was stunned at how just listening to me and somebody else go over our list, I felt like I had a lobotomy or something. Like it completely just pulled my previous brain state out of my head and opened my chest, and I fell into like the deepest, most lovely nap. So yeah, I'm really grateful for this list, or the list in general.
I'm grateful for this painting that I have in my living room that was painted by my best friend, Patrick.
I'm grateful for brown rice. And I will say, brown rice, for what it does for you, should be like $1,500 a pound. Just like your toothbrush should probably cost $1,000, given what it does for you.
Mm-hmm.
And brown rice, really insanely grateful for like simple food that delivers huge benefits.
Mm. I'm grateful for the moments of silence and presence that I've had more of lately, because I've looked for them, but also because they're happening because people are self-isolating, and I'm not happy because of the reason, but I'm grateful for that silver lining.
Miso soup.
That's great. Popcorn.
Movies.
I love me some popcorn. Movies?
Yeah.
Is that yours?
Movies.
Okay. Westworld. I'm really digging it.
The sweater that I'm wearing lately, I'll tell you why, because I'm having hot flashes in the last year and a half, and this sweater is the perfect sweater for during a hot flash. You just like bring it down your shoulders so your shoulders get exposed and you cool off a little, and then when the hot flash is over, you're kind of cold, and then you put the sweater back on again. It's like a big cardigan, and I just love it. It reminds me of sort of like a 1970s East Village poetry publisher sweater.
Nice. My old beat up pair of Vans, which have become my 24-hour, anytime I go outdoor, shoes for this period of time. I'm glad I hadn't tossed them yet, and they're serving a great purpose right now.
I'm really grateful that I'm not one of those women who spends like an hour and a half like bathing, shaving, primping just to leave the house. I'm really grateful that I'm not one of those women. So grateful. It's a lot of work. I'm way too lazy.
I'm grateful for these LED lights that I bought like 4 months ago, that I hemmed and hawed about buying because I was thinking about, teaching some stuff online, and I wasn't sure I should bite the bullet and buy them. But with what's going on currently, boy, have they come in handy, and they're really paying for themselves. that was just serendipitous. So grateful for that.
Cool. My bed.
Friends who I'm grateful for the friends who I haven't talked to for a while or who I only talk to sporadically, who've reached out during this period to check in with me.
Yeah, I remember the first day that shit got real. Like 3 people in Maine reached out to me in one day. And I was like, wow, I'm on their minds. And just as they are often on mine, with a whole country between us, you know, and that was lovely. So that's not mine. Mine is the Dyson fan that I bought last year. It's one of those weird space age fans that doesn't really have any blades, and it's just cool. It's just fucking badass.
My Amazon Echo Dot, a little speaker thing. I guess not the device so much, but I have this thing that it's called Island Sounds, and it's like sounds of like the surf and birds and sort of crickets at night, all sort of combined, like there's maybe sleeping on the seashore. And it really makes a difference in my sleep pattern, and I'm grateful for that.
Rachel Maddow, love her. Oh my God, she's my big lesbian crush. Oh, love her. Used to listen to her on Air America.
Wow, that is.
Yeah.
Wow, you are a fan.
I am.
I'm going to piggyback and say Trevor Noah.
Jon Stewart.
The soaps, the handmade soaps that my friend Suzanne Freeman makes and gives whenever she hosts a party, they're nice, and I have a couple of them around, and I'm actually using them now because of what's going on, and not just having them sort of sit in a drawer.
Yeah. Okay, this is our last one.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't have to be big or important or anything. It just has to be the next thing in my brain. Thank you for doing this and for being a really good friend who I always can, relax into a conversation with you and take our time and have space for one another. I really appreciate that. I really feel like received by you. And that is very precious.
Thank you. I feel the same way, but I can't use that for my last.
No, you can't.
I have, what's the word I'm looking for? I have like a wall where I have a bunch of pictures ripped out from magazines and inspiration or whatever it is. And most of them are places all over, are places around the world. And it just reminds me that there are beautiful places all over the world that exist and that are still beautiful and that I still want to see. And I like that reminder. I'm grateful for those.
Love that. Love that. So how do you feel?
I feel like I have breath in my body again. And my chest feels less constricted. My breaths are longer. How's that? That's for a start.
That's really good. I was going to say that's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, it is noticeable.
Such an easy shift too. It's like, just do this thing.